in the history of our country. And so you know what? They can beat their drums and stand next to toxic waste all they want, but that doesn't make it toxic waste. And Maria, I'm happy to announce on your show that we are not going to take this laying down. You want to attack my character? Come at me. Bring it on. I'll see you in court.
So you're going to sue them?
Absolutely. It's coming tomorrow.
Tomorrow you will be dropping a lawsuit against the Atlantic magazine.
Yes, I will, for defamation. And because you know what, Maria? We have to fight back against the fake news. It's one of the many things that President Trump is so successful at in leading out on, because no one is attacked as baselessly as he is and as much as he is. And our leaders that get attacked under his brilliant leadership must do the same. And I won't tolerate their attacks on me.
That was FBI Director Kash Patel, live on Fox News, confirming he would sue one of America's most respected magazines. And he followed through. On Monday, Patel filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit against The Atlantic in federal court in Washington, D.C. The case centers on an article published April 17 by Atlantic reporter Sarah Fitzpatrick, alleging Patel engaged in a pattern of excessive drinking and had unexplained absences during his time leading the bureau. Fitzpatrick says she spoke with more than 24 sources, including current and former FBI officials, congressional staff, and people close to Patel, before publishing. The Atlantic has not backed down.
Case against him on Friday with the intention of marring his reputation. The Atlantic responding to this lawsuit saying, quote, "We stand by our reporting on Kash Patel and we vigorously defend the Atlantic and our journalists against this meritless lawsuit." And
I can say unequivocally that I never listen to the fake news mafia. And as when they get louder, it just means I'm doing my job. This FBI director has been on the job twice as many days as every director before me. What that means is I've taken half as many days off as those before me. What that means is I've taken a third less vacation than those before me. What that means is that this FBI with this Department of Justice has dropped the murder rate 20 points. I'm on the job. I'm the first one in. I'm the last one out. I'm like an everyday American who loves his country, loves the sport of hockey, and champions my friends when they raise a gold medal and invite me in to celebrate. I've never been intoxicated on the job, and that is why we filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit. And any one of you that wants to participate, bring it on. I'll see you in court.
Your lawsuit contends that you were not able to log into the system. What did you think?
Here's why this case is harder to win than it sounds. Because Patel is a public figure, his lawsuit has to clear a much higher legal bar called actual malice. That means Patel's lawyers must prove The Atlantic either knew its reporting was false, or showed reckless disregard for whether it was true. This standard comes from a landmark 1964 Supreme Court case, New York Times versus Sullivan, designed specifically to protect press freedom when reporting on public officials. Patel's attorney, Jesse Bin-Noor, argues The Atlantic was warned ahead of publication that key claims were false, and published anyway. The Atlantic disputes that characterization entirely.
Now, The Atlantic released this statement moments ago. It reads, "We stand by our reporting on Kash Patel, and we vigorously defend The Atlantic and our journalists against this meritless lawsuit." CBS News Justice reporter Jake Rosen joins us live right now. And Jake, good to see you today. So what more do we know about this lawsuit?
Well, Kash Patel
Bombshell news about Kash Patel. Carol Lenig and I are reporting that the FBI director ordered the polygraphing lie detector tests of more than 24 current and former members of his security detail, as well as some other officials, in a desperate effort to hunt for leakers as he enters into panic mode trying to save his job. That's according to people familiar with the matter. We're also reporting that he's been avoiding meetings with senior FBI leaders, raising questions about his ability to continue directing the FBI. Now, I should add that his spokesperson, Ben Williamson, is adamantly denying that he's been avoiding meetings. He says he's regularly meeting with senior officials. He's not commenting on the polygraphing, and he says the only people in panic mode are the news media and Democratic politicians who he says aren't paying attention to the accomplishments of the FBI. But look, it's no secret that Donald Trump has contemplated firing Kash Patel over his various controversies, including that infamous moment when he was seen chugging a beer with the winning men's Olympic hockey team in the locker room after the game.
This lawsuit doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a broader pattern. In recent months, the Trump administration and its officials have filed lawsuits against the New York Times, the BBC, CNN, and the Des Moines Register all over coverage they say was unfair or false. Media analysts point out that even when these lawsuits face long odds in court, they can still serve a purpose, putting pressure on news organizations and sending a public signal. Inside the FBI, the dispute has also raised questions among some current and former officials about morale and trust, separate from whatever happens in the courtroom.
On the part of the newspapers. The court ruled that public officials must show actual malice on the part of the publisher of the defamatory remarks. Actual malice in this context means that a plaintiff must demonstrate that the publisher knew that the statement was false, or at least acted with reckless disregard for the truth of the statement. This elevated standard allows for more freedom to publish without fear of litigation, which enables uninhibited open.
This lawsuit doesn't exist in isolation. It's part of a broader pattern. In recent months, the Trump administration and its officials have filed lawsuits against the New York Times, the BBC, CNN, and the Des Moines Register all over coverage they say was unfair or false. Media analysts point out that even when these lawsuits face long odds in court, they can still serve a purpose, putting pressure on news organizations and sending a public signal. Inside the FBI, the dispute has also raised questions among some current and former officials about morale and trust, separate from whatever happens in the courtroom. So where does this go from here? If the lawsuit survives early motions to dismiss, both sides will enter discovery, meaning Patel, Atlantic journalists, and FBI insiders could all be required to testify under oath. That's a process that could take months, possibly years. For now, what we know for certain is this: a sitting FBI director has taken a major news organization to federal court, alleging a coordinated effort to damage his reputation. The Atlantic says it stands fully behind its reporting. The courts will now decide who's right. We'll continue tracking this story as new filings and statements come in. For fact-based breakdowns of America's biggest legal and institutional stories, subscribe to AVA Reports, hit the bell for notifications, and let us know in the comments, do you think this case has a real shot in court? Thanks for watching.